there is a terrible catch-22 that comes across as spiteful and manipulative, but it is nonetheless true. If you are against the concept of freedom of speech, then the only logical conclusion of such a promise is that I ought to have agency in suppressing your speech. Not only that, you have agency in suppressing mine. Clearly, this anti-axiom of gatekeeping freedom of speech, and ultimately freedom of thought, falls against the golden rule. Love your neighbors as yourself. It is a one of two commandment that Jesus gave his disciples and audience. The other is to love the Lord our God with all of our heart. Ultimately, this can be boiled down to works and faith, in my opinion. The act of loving God with all of your heart is faith, but it is also a work. We expend physical, mental, and spiritual energy, setting aside time to commune with the Spirit of Christ. It is not a passive feat. Truly, only through achieving this faith can the loving of thy neighbor as thyself truly be acted out according to God's will. We have to invite him into our hearts daily. We must refresh our minds daily. Only when we accept God's love for us can we accept that we have love and grace to give to others. God's Spirit is the only factor that can make such love possible. The pool of Bethesda in the book of John comes to mind. An old man wished to enter the pool to receive healing, and yet he believed that he could not be healed because he couldn't physically reach the well. Jesus told him to walk, and he walked. Before he had been asked, "Do you wish to get well?" the man replied that there was no one to place him in the pool when the waters were stirred by the angel of the Lord. And yet the man did not need the waters of the pool per se, but the living water of Christ. The Samaritan woman, whom to Jesus spoke, had been told that he, Jesus, was living water. So do we want to be healed? In my own sin, I once said, sometimes I'd rather make war than peace. But I was unclear in my intent. The proper enemy of God, who has earned the right to be rejected, is Satan, the darkness, the void. The absence of goodness that has entered the heart of those who do evil and remains silent when such evil is committed. The desire to instigate war is a sin. Not to act in self-defense, but to desire another's destruction, whether it be a person, a nation, a religion. This comes from someone whose heart has become corrupted by sin. Those who take sadistic pleasure in the suffering of others serve darkness. By your fruits shall they know you. By their fruits shall you know them. Those possessed, those vessels of the void, are simply put, those who take pleasure in the destruction of good things, of godly things. And if your thoughts are of anger or disillusionment, then you have yourself put your connection to God on hold. And there is plenty of reason to feel angry. There are plenty of reasons to feel sad and fearful. Of this I have no illusion. However, the angry, the spiteful, the arrogant, the self-righteous, the greedy, and the liars, who are unrepentant, unreflecting, and steadfast in their unknowing, will cause you to stumble. We are social creatures having access to the thoughts and feelings of thousands and thousands of people per day. However, this is not the proper environment to facilitate engagement with the Holy Spirit. The algorithm of social media is designed to make its designers wealthy, and that requires you being stuck and boxed into its abiding predictive programming. That's what it looks like when the devil takes your godly nature and attempts to turn it against God himself. By distracting you with the fallen nature of God's worldly kingdom and away from his heavenly one, there is no shortage of, even in the best case scenario, facts and true things to be learned about the world that are good, but not godly. Even if everything on the internet was true, it would take you away from knowing the things about the unworldly reality, God's reality. So love the Lord with all your heart, and let your words reflect the grace, mercy, love, and blessings that he has given you. Inspire other people to seek the gospel. Paul saw Jesus and was told by the Lord, "It is I, Jesus, whom you are persecuting." Jesus took a man who was a worldly enemy to his body, to his followers, and confronted him on his evil. And Paul repented. Can you imagine what would have happened if Jesus had said, "Paul, check your privilege," or, I don't know, some modern guilt-shame-ridden slogan or false idiom? People don't take kindly to being hated for being wrong. They do take kindly to kindness, though. So deliver the truth in the kindest way possible. Go for the smallest possible victory in winning over the hearts and minds for the glory of Jesus Christ. We are not required to make peace with evil, but we are asked to be peaceful in our own hearts in the war against evil. We are asked to be peaceful from one fighting it, lest the evil one turns us into agents for his will. Let peace be your weapon against the enemy.